I'm Zamzam Ibrahim.
And I am Nadia Maya.
And we are going to be recording a podcast.
Yes, called the Flop Squad.
Why is it called the Flop Squad?
Well, that's for you to find out. And for us to know.
Yeah, I mean, this is actually something that we've been wanting to do for a very long time. And I hope you can kind of come on a journey to figure out just different things in life, experience life with us. This is a podcast, and we wanted to be truthful. Let's be real. We wanted to be honest about like life experiences, some of the barriers that we face, like how we interpret things, our relationships with our families, our friends, the good, the bad, the ugly. Just deep dive into what it's like the way we interpret life. I can't say the way life is.
Yeah.
Because I can't
speak
for everyone. The way I've lived through life. And I think it's unique because you and me have been friends for many years. Too many years, thanks. Literally since high school.
Yep.
But we're such different people.
Yep. Different cultures, different religions, just all different, but at the same time we just get along.
Do you always get the whole thing of like, I don't know how you and Nadia are friends. I don't know how you guys are staying friends. But you know the interesting thing is I feel like we are so different but so similar as well, right? And I think we're personality-wise very different. I think we're the way in which we go through life quite different, but principally we're the same, right? The same. We have very similar family values, and
very close to our family.
Yeah, and the way we navigate things. So I think we'll be able to explore that actually through
how
different lenses.
How
yeah, but I feel like
and how
because
we deal
this
with
is our
I guess as well.
different. What do you mean?
How we deal with the differences.
Oh yeah, But I think we deal with differences in a very different way.
But no, as in
I think we have
between us.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
Not
you're
differences in our lives, of course.
right. Okay. I'm with you. But I think we should start very much with the very beginning.
Yes.
Where it all began.
Let's go back in time.
The autobiography.
Little Zamzam.
Little Zamzam.
Popped out.
In Sweden.
Screaming.
In Sweden.
Did you come out screaming?
Honestly, that's for my mum to say.
You haven't asked
But what I'm reminded of is the pain that I caused her. The struggle that I caused her.
I'm reminded of something
regularly.
Different.
I mean, I'm telling you, 28 years later, this woman's not letting go.
I think that happens to my brother. Because my brother's like, you damaged me. My belly was never the same after.
My body never recovered.
It was never the same after. With me, it's more of like, you were an ugly baby. That's what I'm going to say to you.
Your mum tells you straight up you were ugly baby?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You were actually knowing your mum. She speaks her mind. Do you know what it is?
Yes.
I feel like your mum is one of those people that like there's no filter between what's in her mind and what comes out her mouth. It just it comes out.
Yeah, especially when she's comfortable. It's like, it just lets it all out.
Honestly, I've got to tell a random story because I remember when I first met your mum, right? And she'd come around because for context, Nadia mum works and lives in Angola. But comes to visit you regularly, in the UK. But I remember years ago we were in college and we were chilling in your living room and your mum comes through from your auntie's house and then she sees me, right? And she's like, oh my God. And she's seen me before, by the way, but this is the first time she'd seen me without my hijab, right?
Yeah.
She's like, why the hell do you wear a hijab? She was so bad. She's like, why would you hide this hair? And it's a thing of it's my faith. It's my religion.
It's my choice.
It's my choice. I choose. I actually choose to do it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And she was like, but no, you shouldn't. You know what I mean? And it's there's so many encounters. I feel like I could tell so many stories about when your mum's done that to me. It's really funny.
I think every time she meets you,
it's always
it all comes
but
back
it's wholesome. It comes out of a place of love, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, so it's hilarious. But anyways, I think context. Go on. Tell us about your journey. You wasn't born in the UK.
No,
similar to
I
me.
was born in Portugal, and I think I was there for not even a year, and then I went to Angola with my mother, and I wasn't there for long.
Oh yeah,
because I was ill. I was getting ill constantly, so my mum was like, "Listen, some of you know, Angola isn't exactly the perfect place for health." So she was like, "You have to go back to your grandma in Portugal." And that's when I went back to Portugal and I did my education there. I was 3 when I moved back to Angola.
Yeah.
And 9, I was 9 when I moved to
the UK. Yeah. And when you moved to the UK, you moved with your grandma.
Yes.
Because your grandma was in the UK.
No. I moved with my grandma. Yeah. But I came
grandma.
here with my godmother.
Oh, did you come in with your godmother? I didn't know that.
Yep. She was the one that dropped me. She was coming and she was like, I'll take you.
Yeah.
And we came, and that was the beginning of chapter 2 of my life.
So you basically was raised by your grandma, more or less, because she's the one that you lived with.
That's literally what my mom says all the time. She's like, you were raised by your grandma. You need to appreciate. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I do appreciate.
You know, the funny thing is, like in like Somali culture, we always say that the people that like had their were raised with their grandmas in the same household, are more in tune with their culture.
Really?
Because grandparents like kind of root language in you, root culture in you, remind you of like how things were back in the day for them.
Yep.
So like it's like Iya Kuris, we call it. Because Iya is like grandma, and like Kuris is like raised by. Mm-hmm. So I think like it's a wholesome thing to be raised by.
But you weren't raised by your...
I mean, I lived with my grandma.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So
Sweden.
So my thing is, I was born in Sweden. Mm-hmm. And there was no moving around until we came to the UK. But I came to the UK at 9, just like you.
Yeah.
But I came like when I just turned 9, and so I think it was like the last week or a couple of weeks of year 5. Like I got to experience. Like I think I went to like 2 weeks of it. Yeah. And it was the ghetto. Because we were in this like, I feel like Sweden is such a different like bubble, especially for kids, like for young people. It's such a different experience. And so like being in Sweden, growing up as a kid, like I was surrounded by black people. I was surrounded by like Arabs. Do you know what I mean? Like I was surrounded by people of color. Yeah. And then I came to the UK. I looked around at Claire. I was like, huh? Where the color folk at? Like I was actually so confused, and it was weird to me because like I've always been told like, oh, there's so many like Somalis in the UK, you're gonna be fine. Da, da, da. Yeah. And then when I came at the age of 9, and we did move into like, we were housed at like a very like, it was like a very white. It wasn't even middle class. It was working class, but like it was like a very white area, and they were like insanely racist, like intensely racist, right? So all I just remember is like things like my dad's car like being egged, you know, like them breaking his car windows and our doors being knocked and like running. Like it was like a weird experience.
Compared to Sweden, how the difference?
I mean, the thing is, like we didn't have that in Sweden. Do you know what is right? And there's a reason for this, and I think we can get into like how migration like breaks out in the UK and how migration breaks out in the context of the European countries. Mm-hmm. Because the thing is, Sweden does this thing where like they place people in like hubs, like they're called like ghettos kind of thing. They're referred to as ghettos actually in certain publications, but basically what they do is, and all the migrants, they put them in an area. So all the migrants are literally living in the same area. Okay. And so that's why when I went to school, I saw a bunch of black people. And that doesn't mean that there was loads of black people in the country. It just meant that they were all moved into that particular area. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Shout out Göteborg, but like that's literally where I grew up, and I knew so many Somalis, so many like Kenyans, Ethiopians, Kurdish, Iraqis. Like no, there was actually very particular groups of people, and Iranians. Like there was a particular groups of people that like were migrated to Sweden, right? And they were there in huge proportions, and that's why like, so in my class there probably was like 4 or 5 Swedish people that I grew up with, like that I remember. So the dynamic was different. I mean, obviously it changed when I started high school, because then we moved into a very much area that is quite mixed. But yeah, so my first experience with the UK was like, well, what is this? What is this ghetto?
But like, how was your experience like in Sweden, like growing up? Was it nice compared to the UK?
Oh my God, Sweden is like a heaven for children. I'm not even gonna lie. I think there's one of the things I appreciate actually makes my parents take me out of Sweden, right? Because I think the opportunities that I've been given in the UK, I would never have had in Sweden. Yeah, true. But when I was younger, Sweden was a heaven. Perfect. Like when I would like come home from school and I could walk home from school, there was no issue. Like from the age of like 6, 7, I was like okay to go anywhere by myself, right? In the sense that I could go to the shops, I could go hang out with my friends. I'd come home from school, and then if I didn't have mosque, like I'd go play with my friends. And like the only indicator of the time to go home is when the sun's going down. Do you know what I mean? And it was a safe environment, because like all the mums on the block are also your mum. They know who you are. Yeah, everyone knows everyone. They're like, that's Fortun's little daughter. So, you know, if I see her do up to any trouble, you know, within 5 seconds, you have no idea what your daughter's up to. Like, she'd get a phone call. So, like, it was like I was being watched. I felt safe, and then therefore I could go explore and do whatever I want. Like, we had like a forest behind our house, so I used to go explore. Like, it's heaven for kids. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you get level of freedom. There's no worry. There's no. It was just a completely different experience, you know. So yeah, I loved it.
Cool. And then you moved to the UK, and it was just like, what the hell?
No, it was legit prison.
Yeah, it was different.
I was like, we're serving a sentence out here. Me and my siblings, I remember when we came, and I have 4 other siblings. We were like, we don't like it here. And we're going to plot to... Actually, at the time, I had 3 other siblings. Salman, my little brother, was born here, yeah. We were like, we don't like it. And we strategically were like, guys, we're going to spend the next year showing mum and dad how much we disdain this place, right? And we were just like, we don't want to do this, we don't do that, we don't like it, we don't like it, we don't like it here. And then my mum, like, when they brought us here, by the way, we were brought under the false pretenses of like, if we don't like it,
we can go back.
Can move back. Don't believe that, folks. Don't believe that.
It's a lie.
It's a lie. So that's what they said to us. But then it turns out that, like, when we moved to him, I was like, well, tough luck. This is where my family is. Also, my mum's entire family just went and all moved together.
Okay.
So it was like...
So for her, it wasn't that...
So it was like, there was no choice. This is what my family is now.
Yeah. Was it your mum's choice, or was it a whole family?
Actually, there was a thing. So my dad wanted to move to the US, right?
Right.
And contextually, my dad's a pilot, and there was like something about like licensing where like he was working in the US, but with his like pilot license, because of the way he got it, he couldn't work with in the UK, right? So my dad's thing was like, we're gonna move to the US.
Yeah.
And when he went to the US, he worked in the US, and then things went left.
Right.
You know,
that's why he was like
9/11 happened. Muslim people couldn't get jobs. Do you remember that period? Yeah. That one right there. So he went through that situation where like my mum and dad had like a bet. They were like, if America doesn't work out, and it's written for us to not like go to the UK, we'll go to the UK. America didn't work out. You know what I mean? In the sense of like my dad didn't go out there and everything didn't succeed. And and then we ended up moving to the UK. But you know what I always say, right? I have family in California and I love them to bits. But imagine sounding like them. Imagine sounding American. God forbid.
The accent is really bad, isn't it?
It really is.
Which one is worse?
It's like, I'm a Cali girl. I can't do that. I can't take them serious.
That's all you'd sound like if you didn't move here.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Well, it's better than Birmingham, that's for sure.
Anyway, now, tell me about you, though.
See, mine was so different compared to yours.
What was
like for you?
Can
you
I say
moved
growing
to
up
Sweden
in Angola, because you didn't really grow up in Angola?
No, but me growing up in Angola was very like. I guess I like, because the reality is, I was just a quiet person.
Okay.
I was just reading my books, wanting to go to theatre and doing stuff like that. My brother was very wild, like he was always out. But we couldn't go to school the way you guys did in Sweden, like that was impossible. Everything was far away. Had to drive. I had to wake up super early to go to school because of traffic.
In Angola, Luanda?
Yeah. Traffic was crazy. I remember we always used to sleep in the car because traffic was crazy. I had to wake up like 4 in the morning at times. Yep. To get to school.
How long is the drive?
Dude, traffic was like 2 hours.
Oh my God, that's actually crazy.
Yeah, like traffic was... that's one of the reasons a lot of kids, I feel like, moved to the UK. Because traffic in Angola, it was just the worst.
And then...
You wasted a lot of time. But for me, like, my experience growing up in Angola, it was very much like... I was quiet.
Okay.
I had friends, but I was very quiet. And I just kept myself to myself, like, I talked to my friends, had sleepovers and whatever. But I was just quiet. My mom always says like when you say
quiet though, do you mean like you were?
I was just focused on like reading, studying, I guess you can say, and like going to the theatres, cinemas, stuff like that. Like I wasn't that kind of girl that would like go out and get my hands dirty and like run and none of that. I was the kind of person that would just stay at home.
Okay.
And so when I moved here, for me it was just like, right, this is my chance for me to just
discover life.
Yeah, like just be different. But it wasn't even that like I made like a rational,
decision.
Yeah, it was more of like everything here was different. Everything like in Angola, we didn't have any uniforms.
Yeah.
Well, it was like your own school. And I was going to a private school. And in that private school, the kids were just...
Well, private school kids. We know what private school kids
Yeah,
are like.
like they're just rude. And like everything is what your dad has, what your mom has. So for me, like that wasn't what I liked, I guess.
Yeah.
It didn't help me grow.
Yeah.
I guess I wasn't free to, you know, be myself. And when I moved here, we didn't have any of that. You know, who cares who your mom is, who your dad is?
Yeah.
You know, you're wearing uniforms. All you have to do is just deal with the kids.
You know, I really was excited to work because in Sweden we didn't have uniforms as well.
Which is awful.
You know,
Like it's not awful, but like
there's a reason though. I think like the reason they don't do uniform in Sweden is because they want kids to show their individuality, right?
Yeah, I
Whereas
get
here
that.
they're like they don't want kids to show any individuality at all.
no, but I don't think it's because they don't want to show any. I think it's honestly just because we don't have to think about, you know,
That is true.
what to
It
wear in
is a
school
huge
and
burden.
stuff like that.
Did you like wearing uniform?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
Because like I feel like back in Angola, it was literally like I always had to wear like something nice. You know,
Yeah.
it was that struggle, and like I think that's one of the reasons that I cut my hair, because my hair was so long. I remember my mum found out she nearly killed me, but it was the whole like the whole image that you had to keep.
You cut your hair when you were in Angola.
Yeah. My mum went on holiday, and I was like, listen, I'm done
Recently
with
did
you.
that too.
Yeah, honestly, like I will show you a picture. It's like it was up to here.
Oh my god.
And I remember I used to cry to my mum. I was
You
like,
cut it yourself. You went into the toilet and you went,
yeah, my brother and my dad were in the living room chilling, and I just said, I'm gonna go for it. Okay. And I just cut it, and it was like super short, but it looked good, but because I couldn't really do anything with it. And I used to
but your
annoy
mum was
me.
hella upset.
She was so upset.
Yeah.
Like she was, because my hair was really long. It was so beautiful, and I just couldn't handle it. Like it's just, I don't know. But anyway, so I cut it, and yeah, for me, it was literally like a freedom of I can be me without having to worry about what to wear, how to be, you know, all that stuff. Because I feel like when you're worried about those little things, it affects how you're going to be, or what you're going to say, and how it affects all those little things. So for me, I feel like it was like the best thing ever that happened.
Okay.
It's like for you it was hell, and for me it was like heaven.
And then, okay, so now you come to the UK. Mm-hmm. How does it differ? Like, how do you switch up? Like, what was different?
God, I was a lot more talkative. Jesus Christ. Like, I went from being quiet to getting detention every day in school because I just couldn't keep my mouth shut.
So you were like because you were like top grade student, right?
Yes.
When you were a kid. And
yes, like, that was like,
that's
I guess that's one of the reasons.
has told me.
Yes.
This girl was apparently very smart.
Yes.
So
That's why my
smart that you started school early.
I did. Literally, my mum found out I could read, and she was like, I don't know how I got to reading, but yes, she found out I could read. We were around 3, and she was like, listen, you're going to go into school.
Yeah.
And my dad, because my dad had a friend that had a school, so he was like, is it possible to get her in?
Earlier.
Because the thing is, my parents, they didn't really like, they want what's best for you, but they weren't really like your parents. Like your dad would sit you down and we would go, you do that. My parents didn't have that. They didn't have that patience of like, exactly. So for them, it was like, let's get you in school. Yeah. I feel like that will help you. And that's why they got me into school. And I guess in a way, that's probably why I was so, focused on other things instead of like, but no, I think it was just me. It was just me and the whole of like the school I was going to,
Yeah.
And I was really stubborn. By the way, that's probably why we like...
Still are very stubborn.
Not really. You know what? I've actually changed. Compared to... Listen, my mom tells me that I used to invite my friends over, and it was sleepover. I used to invite them over. We had fun. When it came to sleeping, it was like, right, guys, it's nice being with you guys, but I'm going to go to my bed. You guys decide where you're going to sleep. No one would sleep in bed with me, and like no one would share clothes. Oh, I used to... hated when people
imagine the audacity of inviting people to your house and be like, I don't know where you're gonna sleep. That sounds like a you problem.
100%, but it wasn't.
But it ain't gonna be my bed.
It wasn't like
That's
it had nothing to do
so
with
rude.
me.
What do you mean it had nothing to do with me?
Like,
it's like, hi friends, come to my house.
Yeah, we played
over at my house.
Yeah, we played. We had fun. Now let's go sleep. Like you can go sleep whatever you want, but it ain't gonna be in my bed.
Figure it out, yeah.
Figure out. You're a big girl now. Or you can just ask my mom, she's an adult for a reason.
Oh, God.
But, yeah, it was I was that kind of person. And I remember my mom once, I stole money from her bag. And I was such an obvious thief. because I stole money and like I bought sweets. So I was walking around giving sweets to everyone. My mom was looking at me. She was like, where did she get those sweets? I was like, I don't know. Where did I get them from?
So you were like confidently like, I don't know.
Exactly. I was like, we're going to talk when you get home. She literally like beat the shit out of me.
She taught you a new one.
Listen, like I literally, I hated like people hating me. Like it was the worst. I walked, literally like I crawled the whole house because she was following me. And then she got my brother involved and we were both crawling like the whole house. It's like she was like, don't you dare ever do, how do,
Did you get your brother involved?
Do you know how your parents are? You know, when one person does it, like
did nothing to deserve the pain.
Literally, like, she got my brother involved. Literally, like, my mum said I didn't speak to her for literally a week.
I can imagine that.
I was like, don't you dare ever.
Oh, well, look, yeah.
She was like,
I do that with Somali parents. Do that. She was Somali parents, yeah?
That's what I mean.
They beat you, they expect apology.
That's what I mean. Like, for me, it was completely different. It was like don't you dare speak to me.
You're not going to apologize, huh? It's like you hit me.
But that's like where, like you said, like the way you were brought up. Because for me, it was just like 2 kids in the house.
Yeah, that's true.
And, you know, my brother was just like wild and whatever. And I was the quiet one. So, but yeah, so that was like me. I was like stubborn and like mind my business. I don't care about anyone else. It's not even that I didn't care about anyone else. I was just like into me, like, you know, I just wanted things the way I wanted, full stop.
Yeah, you just didn't care about anyone else.
Yeah.
You cared about yourself.
Yeah.
That's it.
Literally.
You were very much self-centered.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So when I moved into the UK, it was different because like I had a lot more friends.
Do you think you changed straight away or was there like a shift?
I honestly couldn't tell you what happened. Like even my childhood, like I can't tell you really what went down.
Well, let me tell you what you were like when I first met you.
Oh, go on then, surprise me.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, okay, so for context, we met at high school. We went to the same high school.
Yeah.
But I went to a different high school in
year 6.
Year 7.
7. Oh yeah, year 7 because you met.
Wow, I'm really forgetting how high school works. Yes. It's been that long, guys.
It hasn't been that long.
So I went to a Muslim school. Really problematic, but that's a story for another day. And then I like transferred back to like, so I was on the private school first year and then I went to like a normal high school for year 8. And then year 8 is like when I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna rediscover myself. I'm gonna have different friends. And yeah, and then we met.
Yeah.
Through like a big group of friends. It
was huge.
A very diverse.
We were so close.
Group of friends.
We're all like different bands and stuff because you had like Y band and X band.
Yeah, we had.
But we were like quite close for a year group. I feel like we were actually quite close.
We were quite close, but we were very different.
Yeah, we were all very different.
It was like, okay, imagine like a diversity magazine.
Yes.
Where you have like every race covered.
Not just race, but personalities. It was just like we're all so different.
Every shape and size, and like honestly, like one of these, we look like one of those diversity.
Remember that prom picture?
I don't find that so funny. Like honestly, those prom
like
pictures.
That.
Oh my god!
Literally, you could tell.
Oh, did I drop the?
She dropped the mic.
Honestly, do you know what? I'm crying, but like, yeah. Every time I look back at the friendship group, I always tell Nadia like,
she cringes as well. Like
I cringe. I don't cringe in the way like they're all great people.
Thing. Yeah.
It's just that like the math just don't math. The numbers don't add up. You know.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I feel like I keep hitting this. So I was like, I don't know how we got to be all friends, but yeah, that was like our friendship group. But you were the quiet one in the friendship group, like from year 8, year 9, right? Yeah. And then year 10, year 11, it's like you swallowed a microphone, right? And your mouth was just so big. Like she would, I'm not even joking, guys. Like she would start fights with people and then be like, Zamzam's gonna knock you out.
It wasn't fights. Everyone had attitude at the time. Literally, like everyone had attitude. And then I feel like I kind of like attracted a lot of attitude because I had a lot of attitude.
So she would talk the talk, but she could not walk the walk. So she would hire me to walk the walk. Literally, that's what it was.
But that's actually smart because I feel like I knew I couldn't handle it, so I might as well get someone to do it. And let me tell you, do you see this picture here? Do you see this here? Very ladylike, sophisticated. This girl was different in school. And I think that's why loves and hates me because I knew her back then, and this girl then, she was a fighter. Like,
plead the fifth. I'll plead the fifth.
Like, she was fighting. She was one of the boys, by the way. She was one of the boys. She was actually, always fighting everyone. Like, you looked at her wrong, what are you looking at?
Yeah, innit?
We were talking. She was flying across the room because she saw someone looking at. It was like,
I was raised by my grandma, and my grandma was a warrior. She was genuinely a warrior. Like, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys, right? I remember this one time.
But was actually too much.
No, this one time when I was a kid in Sweden, right? I got in a fight. I got beat up. I came home. I told my grandma I got beat up. My grandma said to me, "You're gonna get beat up by me if you don't fight her now." She took me to that girl's house. She knocked on her door. She told her mum, "These two got unfinished business." They pulled us outside. We had a fight. I knocked her out. And do you know why I knocked her out? Because I didn't want to get knocked out by my grandma. I'm not glad to you. So it kind of like a thing of like, the thing my grandma always said to me, yeah, she's like you can't show weakness. Do you know what? It's a whole thing of like actually something that I feel like I've like massively took in, maybe way too much actually.
Yeah.
But
because you were young, so you didn't know how to balance.
But yeah, and I think, but for a long time I was like, show me disrespect, I will show you pain.
Yeah, yeah.
instead of like actually not just kind of reassessing and being like, actually this person's probably got issues with themselves, and it ain't about me. But yeah. I was like I'd go from 0 to 100 real quick.
Yeah. Always fighting.
I wasn't always fighting.
Sam, you were always fighting.
Yeah, but like let's be honest though, like they were like justified fights. This
girl were always justified. Like she's looking at you wrong, and what you're gonna do? Fight her? So for her, it was fight. For me, it was talk.
No, there was a ways to get under my skin, and I think like the fights that I had was like if anyone ever used the N-word, that's when I would go through like.
But I don't think everyone there would use the N-word the way you think. I feel like for you, you just.
A lot of those people did.
They do, but it wasn't like a constant thing. Like you were constant, like.
Anyways, that's the past. I don't know what she's talking about. I'll plead the fifth. I am a lady.
She really wasn't. She really wasn't.
But actually, do you know what is right? I think as I've grown older, I've become the complete opposite of that. Like, I now like regulate my emotions so well, but also just don't even bother. Like,
and I think like those little wrists of yours can't handle it. A real fight no more.
We'll be surprised.
It might go off, but I'll still do it.
I'm kidding. Honestly, I think like you realize like actually just you just can't give people your time and your energy like when you get angry. Like it's because like anger is such a like it's such an exhausting emotion.
Yeah, it is.
Like have you ever got angry at somebody and then just been tired?
You were tired all the time.
Alright, listen, we're Somali, we're anemic, okay? What do you want? What do you want from us? I was like, I was a tall, skinny kid playing basketball. Like, what do you want from me?
I know, she was such a tomboy.
I was a tomboy, but I think that's because I grew up around a bunch of brothers. Like, I think that was just you. And like, yeah.
Because I grew up with a lot of guys, actually, and I was never...
I don't know. It shifted a little bit, I guess, when I started college.
Yes, and there was, like, a change as well.
I discovered makeup.
Yes, she did. That was in college.
Oh my God, those makeup looks are so bad.
That's where you start.
You ever look back at pictures and be like,
yes.
Why did I think?
Oh my God, school pictures.
Purple was a good idea. Why are my lips purple?
Oh my God, your lips purple, right?
Why are my lips purple? Why have I got green eyeshadow on?
School pictures are actually disgusting. I'm not going to lie to you. I looked like I was freaking swallowed by anaconda, literally. Put me in. My hair was just
Oh, do you remember you used to come into school wet with your hair wet every single day?
Do you know what I used to put in basically I used to wash my hair, and then I used to live in the conditioner. So my hair had that whole like
your hair
wet look for a while.
Not even wet look, Daddy. It was wet. It was dripping.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, your blazer was wet. Okay.
I know. So and I used to like go to the bathroom and like wear it because
does this girl not own
a blow dryer? My hair was too much, which I regret it now because like back in the days you don't appreciate the things you have. Yeah. And that's something we have to learn, guys. Yeah, appreciate the things we have. My hair was so beautiful back then, and literally like I took for granted.
And then what she did is she shaved it.
Anyways. Okay, that was like. I didn't shave it. I cut it really short.
She shaved it.
I didn't shave it. Like if I did that, my mum would kill me. But I didn't shave it. I cut it really short. And like, this was like what, a year ago. So don't worry about it. No,
2 years ago.
Okay, 2 years ago. Oh my God, so long now.
Yeah, it's literally when I was moving to Brussels.
Okay, that's been a long time.
Very long.
But before we get ahead, okay, so you're telling me there was a change the whole in college.
Yes.
Was that like, do you think it was like something like that?
Conscious?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
How come?
I don't know. I feel like I'll be very honest with you. This might sound weird. I don't know if actually people do this, but I feel like every stage in my life when I feel like this is going to be something different, I think I'm conscious about like being different. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? And so when I started high school, I was like, new environment, new people, new friends. I'm going to be a different person, right? I'm going to be the person that I want to be, kind of thing, right? And then I start college, and it's like I want to be different. I want to be perceived as like. It's like I feel like growing up, you're like I want to be dressing different, and like because I remember you like I literally was in high school. I was wearing like hats on top of my hijab. Mm-hmm. I was wearing like like baseball jackets, like trainers every day. Like that was just me. I would basically look like a boy. Like I think I had the same wardrobe as my brother at that point, right? And then I start college, and I'm like, okay. I'm gonna start wearing blazers. I'm gonna start wearing like shirts and skirts and dresses and like.
And I feel like we started hanging out a lot more then as well.
Yeah,
because we used to go home. School
but like,
we used to go home straight away.
Do you know why? And I think that's because who else from that friendship group went to college? True. And what was it?
No, there was actually a few, but I cannot for the life of me remember. No, I think half of the school
went to not that our college.
Bolton College, and the other one went to Falmouth College. Because there was two separate ones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Everyone else was in Falmouth. We weren't in Falmouth. We were at like the main campus.
There was a lot of people that went to Thingy. Like a lot.
Maybe I've forgotten.
I'm talking about all of them. They're all in Bolton.
Can we not name drop?
Can you? Yeah.
Can we not name drop?
Like a lot of them.
I actually don't know. I can't tell you.
I could like.
Honestly, do you know what? I don't know if this is bad, but like college felt like
this is not bad. She literally like she forces herself to forget everything that happened. There's before college and after college for her, and before college it's just blank for her. It's like that never happened.
No, but college.
And that's why she has a love and hate relationship with me, because I'm that part that she never got rid of. So I always remind her of this is who you are.
She's just the
Don't
best.
you dare trying to act something different because you're not.
It's the best thing. I can't.
I changed your diapers. That's pretty much what I tell her. And her family as well. They all know that, I was there.
But yeah, I feel like as I like move through these like life stages,
why did you want to be different in college?
I don't know, because you want to be a different version of yourself. I want to see like how people perceive you, how people, you know what I mean? I think it's like this thing of like, finding a self-discovery, finding a place where you belong.
Yeah.
And like having that sense of belonging is like so important. And if you just, I don't know, it was kind of like maybe exploring parts of my personality that were always there that I just didn't really explore, Because I think I always probably wanted to wear makeup. I just didn't know how to.
Yeah.
Right. Or I always wanted to wear like these kind of clothes, and I just thought it doesn't suit me because these suit
the
me.
kind of mentality.
Do you know what? Like we were having this conversation yesterday actually about like building comfort zones, right? Yeah. It's like you build these comfort zones in this like little thing of like you're like actually I'm very comfortable in this nut. This is all I've known. So why would I do something different? But actually, like every time I started something new, I was like it was easier to do something different because it was a new environment.
Yeah. So
I would try something new, and I think like even uni, I was very different when I went to uni. And like, I think it was just escalation, isn't it? Yeah. But I do think like it stems from consistently trying to find like a place where you belong, like a community that you belong to, something that you can be a part of, right? And I think that's kind of why I was like consistently changing, because I was trying to find like where does Zamzam belong, where does she fit in, like what is she like, who is she? And yeah, so that's that journey that I went through. What about you?
I didn't have that. I just grew into.
So you're just saying you've been the same person since I first met you?
I mean, 100%. Let's be honest. Loud. Mind my business.
Yeah.
Do you know, I feel like I just kind of grew into who, like, I feel like who I was back in Angola was who I was here. But here, I kind of like just was able to free this other side of me that I couldn't. When I was in Angola. Okay. Because I feel like I always had this, this. It's not even, I won't call it confidence. Like, because it's not confidence. It's just like, and it's not even like I know what I want, but I'm just like a chill person.
No, yeah, definitely. I think we're both chill people.
Yeah.
But I think in the sense of like, you've shifted in a lot of ways, in the sense of like, you're not selfish anymore. You care
a
lot about other people.
100%.
Put yourself in like...
Yeah, but I feel like with that, I had to do it because of the friendships I had. Like, it wasn't even like a choice. You know, I had to do it because, you know, I had friends.
Don't say it in a way like you hate us. Like, I had friends.
No, but like, I had to do it.
I had to be nice.
No, 100% though, because it was literally, it wasn't because you guys probably wouldn't even notice like it was happening, but it was my family. Like, I feel like my family did had like a lot of like, because I was like this, you know, speak my mind kind of girl. My family was always like, no, that's not how things are. You're not just you in this world.
Yeah.
And you don't start. It's like what I was saying to you the other day. It's like you were fighting a physical battle and I was fighting a like mental
battle.
Because it was, because I was like the talker. Like I was like, I used to answer back. You know, if I didn't like something, like you would use your wrists, I would use my voice. I'd be like, no, that's not how it is. And I wouldn't care who was watching and who was listening. But you wouldn't think, if you looked at me, you wouldn't think I was like that kind of person. But I was, especially at home. So that's where it kind of like started, like that's when it was like, right, Nadia. My mom always used to say to me, like, you need to realize that, you know, if you want to build.
But to be honest though, we were similar in that sense, because I think a lot of the reason I used to get in trouble in school is because I used to backtalk, right? And
yeah, but in school, everyone backtalk. Who doesn't backtalk? We all act different in school.
Me and my sister.
That's what I mean. Like in school, like I feel like in school you can be whoever you want, because I work in the school, so I know like you meet the students in school and then you talk to the parents. They're like, my kid does that. He doesn't do that at home. I'm like, well, your kid is a savage in school. So I feel like in school, kids tend to like, some kids tend to be, you know, different.
Yeah.
But for me, it was like who I was in school, it was who I was at home.
You know what's interesting, actually, like stemming into parents, right? And the role parents play in our lives, because you're right, like parents sometimes are really oblivious about like what their kids are like.
In school. They're 100%. That's what they were saying yesterday, right? In the event.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, you have to go into your school's kids. I was like, God,
you need to connect with their teachers. You need to be a part of their...
She was like...
It's true, though.
Yeah, to connect, not to become a dinner lady or a cleaner. That's what she was saying. She was like, you have to go in.
And I felt like
undercover. Undercover, observe your kid.
I think the message she was trying to send is like, become a school governor kind of thing, like as a parent. And like understand the rules and how things are being passed.
Yeah, she said that also,
school,
but she mentioned that. I was like,
become a dinner lady.
That's what she said.
Did she say that? Okay.
Yeah, she was like dinner lady, cleaner, like being involved in the school. I was like, how involved do you want?
Shift your entire career around your children, guys, or you're not doing it right.
So you need to be careful, guys. Just don't get too involved in your...
I feel like we should do a disclaimer. None of us are parents.
No, like honestly, like
none of us are parents, therefore none of us are really qualified to give you real advice on parenthood.
Exactly, like
however,
so don't take it serious.
We'll give you our opinions, and if you like them,
because we were kids once.
If you don't like them, seems like a you problem.
Yeah, we were kids once, and I feel like I still remember. My mom, and my mom was far away. I've never met someone so involved in my life, and she was far away.
Literally in Africa.
Like that woman, she used to call me 5-10 times a day. I'm not even joking. My mom is a stalker.
No, she actually is.
I didn't mean that.
No, she actually...
She admits that she doesn't care. She's like, you're my kid. I don't care. I'm like, woman, like 10 times a day she used to call me like, you know, you've been on holidays like with me, and like she does that, you know.
I think like whenever I'm with like out with Nadia or like traveling with Nadia, I think I speak to your mom more than I speak to my mom.
Honestly.
So it's like once a day is calm. I'll call her. Yeah, everything's fine. We're still alive. You know, we're living. And then she'd be like, okay, khair, inshallah, send me some pictures. Yeah. And then Nadia's mummy that's calling every 10 minutes. So what did you guys do? Where'd you go? Why do you send me pictures?
Constantly.
And she'll FaceTime us and she'll be like, show me where you are. Show me everything.
So, I don't know if it's... But honestly, I don't think it's because we live far away. I think that's just the way she's the kind of person. Like, she wants to be in your business.
That's just what she is.
100%.
Which is wholesome. But I think,
well, it is for you. But when you're a kid, I felt like there was a lot of pressure. Yeah. And I'm so glad that I was the kind of kid that I was, because I feel like I was able to fight her throughout the whole situation.
When you say you felt pressure, what do you mean?
Because I'm not close to my mom, like, as in like we don't live in the same house.
Yeah.
Thank God we don't live in the same. Honestly, I feel like it would be a battlefield every day. Because when we are together on holiday, I feel like there's always fights. The tension is quite...
Do you think that's because you don't live with her though? You didn't grow up with her. Therefore, like you haven't learned how to like navigate those things.
No, I think it's because I was young. Because now, I know where to step. with my mum.
Okay.
Before, I didn't know it and I didn't care. So it was always like, how is that my problem? So there was always argument, you know. And it was little things. How I did my hair, the clothes I wore.
Yeah.
Like, that woman, she was a control freak.
I've just moved back home. I'm living through it right now.
Do you see what I mean?
It's a problem.
It is, like...
That woman got opinions for days.
They do.
She's got something to say about
Like,
everything.
they don't know, like, when to stop. It's like,
God, I love
choose
her.
your battles.
I love you, Mum.
We do.
Don't throw me out.
Honestly, we do. But back then, for me, it was really hard because it's that thing that you have, like, you love them and, like, you understand kind of where it's coming from.
Yeah.
But with my mom, I felt, because, like, she was like a bulldog, you know, like, and the more she did it, in my head, I was like, she hates me.
Okay.
I mean, you know, like, someone, like, I'm telling her I'm not happy about this, but she's still doing it.
Okay.
It obviously tells me she doesn't like me.
Oh, wow. And you think that's because you didn't live with her? You didn't learn how she
No,
shows love?
I think it was just because, I didn't know, like, I think if I lived there, it would be 10 times worse.
Because honestly, I'll be honest, I think that's how our parents think they show love. That's 100%. Their way of thinking, like, showing you, I love you and I care about you by consistently being in your business.
In your business, making sure,
all
like,
around your business.
You know, you have high dreams, high everything. But it's not like what you want to dream is what they want for you.
Because they think they know best.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
And mum, she always says, like, if I was your age, the things I would do. I was like, you were my age, and may I remind you?
Did you live?
Here we are.
That's sassy. Imagine saying that to Somali mum. I feel like this is going to be an episode of me saying, imagine saying that to Somali mum.
Yeah, I 100%, like, I feel like,
no,
and it's not even because, I think that's just the way I've kind of, like, I taught her
no,
learn that, like,
that you're sassy, we know.
Not even that I'm sassy, that I'm just, like, I don't mean it in a mean way. That's just the way. And I feel like with my mum, she understands that, because, like, even when I was younger, I was like,
because you know what? I think growing up without your parents, like, directly in your life, is very difficult, especially, like, in your upbringing, because you've never really had because obviously I had the complete opposite of the type of, like, parenthood that you experienced, in the sense of, like, I lived with both my parents actually, in fact, there was a period of my life where my dad went to America, like that I mentioned earlier, and I think he was away for 2 years, maybe 2 years, something like that, just before we moved to the UK. And I distinctly remember those 2 years, right? But even within those 2 years, like, my uncle kind of felt like my dad, because he always took my mum shopping. He came around, like, every weekend. He took me and my brother to karate. He would take us out for pizzas on Sunday. Like, we had, like, that routine, and, like, he made sure we didn't feel it, right? But, like, that's probably, like, the only time in my life that I, like, didn't have dad presence. And then, like, growing up, like you said, god damn, my dad was military. Like, he was like
on it.
Education. Like, he would, like, sit us down, like, all my siblings, God forbid. He had a whiteboard in the dining room. And there was just a shelf full of, like, revision books. And it was just military. Like, we had to get through this, we had to study this, we had to learn this, and because I experienced school at home, I was an arsehole at school. Yeah. Because I was like, I already know all of this. Yeah. And nobody's stricter than my dad, so I'm just going to live my best life here. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Pretty much. And, like, the teachers hated me because I was one of those kids that, like, would just get my work done, but I would distract the entire class. Yeah. Because I want to have fun now. Do you know what I mean?
That was literally,
Yeah. And so it was, but having that, I think, shaped who I was. Of course, having both your parents. Both my parents were very different as well. Like, my dad was like, you know, education, put your head down, And then my mom was like deen, like, learn the Quran, like, you know, learn about your religion, your faith, who you are, like, and also up to the age of, like, 10, 11, I had my grandmother, right? And her thing was, like, culture. Do you know your language? Like, she used to say this thing, where she was like, don't bring this foreign language into my house. Like, we could not speak English or Swedish when we was around my grandma. She was like, you have to speak Somali. Like, speak your language, speak your mother tongue.
I honestly believe in that.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, it's because of her I can speak Somali. Yeah, 100%. It's only because my grandma forced us to learn Somali that my Somali is pretty good, right? Yeah. But I had these, like, parents consistently in my life.
You had that support.
I had that, like, infrastructure in the sense that, like, I I always knew that my dad would have my back.
Yeah.
When I started high school and I wanted to like do this or I wanted that, like I knew my dad would have my back, right?
Yeah.
I knew my mum would support me in this. And I remember the first time my dad like moved when I was in uni, I think it was like second year of uni, my dad moved to Somalia to work. That was the first time my dad left me, and the abandonment I felt, crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my God, now I look back at it, I actually think to myself, like, that's like, how did I feel like I was so attached to him? Like this, like,
the baby girl.
like we were attached at the cord and I was going to die without my father. Yeah, I was a daddy's girl. Yeah.
At home, because outside she was just like ghetto.
Oh no, outside as well. Remember that dad showed up at school? Different conversation.
No, but that wasn't a daddy's girl. That was
But no, on a serious though, I was like, I had some serious like abandonment issues. Like I felt like I had been like left by the only person that like loved me.
Yeah.
And like supported me and had my back, you know, and I think at that point is when
the same thing, you know,
and that's when I realized, by the way, that like my relationship with my mum isn't as strong as I thought it was.
Yeah.
Because of course, like I have a very strong relationship with my mum, but it was nowhere near like how ingrained I was with my dad. Yeah. Right, we were literally the same person, and like we had this like best friend type of relationship. So like, I was so hurt. Like, it was genuine heartbreak. I was like, how dare you leave us? I fought him. I was like, you can't leave. And at the time, it took me a long time to understand that he needed to go to Somalia because he wouldn't, like, for context, he was a pilot and he needed, like, there was the first airline in Somalia that he flew in was opening back up, and they invited him, gave him a job, and then he got like a really good role, and he wanted to be a part of like restarting the aviation business in Somalia. Like, it was something that he was so proud of. Do you know what I mean? He was so excited and happy to be a part of something.
When he came here.
Yeah, 100%. Like, he lost a huge part of his identity in it, and who he was and how he grew up, and he was so excited to use his skills and his knowledge, you know?
Sometimes dad was so cool. I honestly believe he was a spy, but she won't tell me. She probably doesn't know, but he was so cool. He spoke about 5 languages.
No, way more than that. But you know what?
Do you see what I mean? Do you see where the spy comes from?
No, okay, but I feel like this is actually a lot of people, because he studied in Russia.
Yeah.
Like, and this is during like the Soviet programs, like where a lot of like African, like young African, like smart young people
they
had the ability. Yeah, it was in Angola. It was in a lot of actually countries. Yeah. And this was like, I think it was like Russia's like way of like infiltrating Africa.
It's weird how your dad was a pilot and my grandpa worked in the thingy. He was the mechanic.
My grandpa from my mum's side also was a pilot and knew my dad. But he was like one of the first pilots after the war finished. So like that grandpa is actually like very well known, and I think he's in like one of the Somali archives. Yeah. But yeah, so it's really cool. I feel like aviation is a really interesting sector.
Yeah, back then I feel like at least for my grandpa it was a huge thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised your dad went back.
Because I reckon it was similarly in the sense of like similar to my grandpa in the sense that it was around when aviation after the Civil War. Yeah. It's not Civil War for you. I guess it would have been after the after like they gained back independence. Yeah. And
he really got involved, and he was like he would.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, like we digressed because we were talking about my relationship with my dad. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, it was like a weird sense of abandonment that I felt, and I was a grown woman at that age. Do you know what I mean? What was I, like 21?
Yeah.
20?
You're in college. I mean, uni.
What year? How old are you? 20. You were 20. Yeah. I was a 20-year-old woman, and I felt like I needed my dad. You know, and what did I need my dad for? Like, when I come home from school, like just to see him from uni, to see him. Like, what was he really doing for me to like enrich my life?
I think it's because you were used to it.
Yeah.
You were so used to it that when it
having him there all the time.
Because it wasn't, I feel like if it was you leaving, it wouldn't be as painful because like it would be you leaving, but because he was the one that left. Yeah. So it's like, what do you mean you're leaving? Like,
yeah, how dare you abandon us?
You're here for me. That's it. Full stop.
That's exactly how I felt.
I'm the reason.
Oh my God, that's so weird. That's exactly how I felt, Nadia. I was like, if I'm not in your life, then what's the point of it? What do you mean? How can you be happy in Africa when I'm not there?
I understand. I honestly do.
Yeah, that's genuinely the best way to describe it, actually. And then it took me a while to realize how bloody selfish that was, right?
Yeah.
And I think it was seeing like how happy my dad was.
Yeah.
And how proud he was of the work he was doing.
Yeah.
Right. And I had to just get over like my emotions and and actually like replace them with like happiness for somebody that I love so dearly.
Yeah.
And respect so dearly, and has inspired and pushed me in so many ways. And like by doing that, he actually inspired and pushed me again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he was like, after years of like being in this sector, all that he gave to it, he came back to it, and he gave to his country, and he, you know, it was a part of something very important. And it was like, yeah, okay, you know what? My dad's badass.
Yeah.
I want to be like just like him. Yeah, but it was so. But for you, like you never had that, and I think like we're so like different in that experience, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Because your relationship with your dad was very challenging.
Distance. What do you mean challenging? There was nothing there. Okay, so this is what happens, right?
I was trying to be diplomatic.
No, because he was just different. Like I feel like he wasn't meant to have kids. I think he had kids because
I've never heard that. He wasn't meant to have kids, okay?
No, because not everyone. I feel like not every person
Is meant to be a father.
is meant. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So I feel like for him, it was he just wasn't ready. You know, he wasn't ready, or he wasn't meant to have kids. So he wasn't really like bothered about it, I guess, in a way. And I moved to the UK quite young. I was 9, and I'm gonna be honest with you. The time that I was there was probably like, 3 years of whatever. I don't remember anything from... okay, I remember a few things, but none of things that I want to talk about right now. But yeah, but what I do remember about my dad, like, it wasn't really like, it wasn't something that I could build something with him. And when I moved here, I think he only came once.
Okay.
And yes, I used to see him.
I actually never knew dad ever came to the UK.
Yeah, he came once, and it was on my birthday. He came for my birthday.
How old are you?
Good question. I don't know. I have pictures. I have pictures of it, but I don't remember how old I was.
Primary.
Probably like
early high school.
Oh goodness.
Okay, like very early on.
Yeah, it was like early on.
Because he came at age of 9, so if he came
Yeah,
to
it was
11.
like I would say about 10, 11. It was one of and that's literally like the only interaction he tried to have with me when I was here. And when I used to go back on holiday to Angola, I did used to see him, but you can't really build anything with just, you know, seeing him for 2 days. Because we didn't want to be on my dad's side of the family. Like, we wanted to be on my mom's side of the family, you know. Yeah. Like, every time my mom was like, you have to go, I'm like, no, I don't have to go. What are you talking about? Like, literally, it was a challenge for my mom, like, to get us to go. I don't know why,
but mom's side of the family is always lit.
Honestly, like, I feel like because it's the family that I grew up with. And so, like, it was a challenge to do it. To go there. So I feel like because of that, and he never tried as well, you know, he'd never like, I feel like he went to not trying to not knowing how to try, like how to do it. So it just became like really awkward. And of course, me being me, I never really like gave him a chance. Okay, I used to answer the phone, so that's me giving me a chance, you know. But anyways.
You used to pick up your father's call. And you're saying, this is me giving him a chance.
100%, because most times they answer.
Yeah.
I used to be like, oh, what does he want now?
Okay.
I feel bad now because, like, you know, my dad passed away, by the way. So I feel bad now. But at the same time, like, I know why I did what I did. You know, there was nothing there for me, like, to hold on to. Like, my brother, he lived in Angola until he was 13.
Yeah, so he grew up with him, 100%. And he has, like, memories and, like...
Yeah, they used to go fishing. Like, there's a lot of things that they used to do.
Yeah, they built that relationship.
Yes, and my brother was quite close to my dad as well. For him, my dad was, like, a hero. And that's something that, like, kind of, like, shattered after a while as well.
Did you, for a reason, like, did you purposely, like, not want to build a relationship with your dad? Or do you think that was, like, something that you decided as a kid?
I feel like when I was younger, I was a daddy's girl. Because I remember, like, my mom... There's something my mom says, like, I was quite close to my dad. However, because I moved, like, he's that kind of person. He just wasn't present.
Okay.
You know, like, we used to go out to the beach. Where is he? You know, we used to do stuff with my mom. Where is he? Okay. Like, it was that kind of thing. So he wasn't present. So as much as I wanted to, I feel like I learned in a very young age. And I don't know if it was because I was traveling quite a lot. You know, I lived with my grandma and stuff. But I didn't build that attachment.
Because he just wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. And not just with my dad, even my mom. Like, I feel like my mom, because she kept on calling me. She kept on building that relationship.
Okay, yeah.
So I was able to like at one stage be like, right,
relationship, yeah,
exactly. You know, for better or worse, she wants me. Full stop. You know. So, and when I moved here, it was like my family. I didn't know my auntie here, by the way. Like, as in, like,
so you got to know her when you moved here?
I knew her like when I was younger.
Okay.
Like when I was like one, because I lived in Portugal and she was there around that time.
Yeah.
In Portugal, but I didn't remember her. So when I moved here, that's when I reconnected with her.
Okay.
I didn't actually know her. I only knew my uncle and my younger auntie.
Yep.
And the one in Angola, of course. So yeah, here it was different because that was it. Like I was by myself.
Yeah.
You know, and you don't realize that until
I think that's exactly it though. Like you were by yourself, and I felt like I was never by myself because I had my dad. Do you know what I mean? I always
and that's why it was so painful for you.
As much as I thought I was by my, I knew I had my dad.
And I feel like that's why you were kind of like okay with the way you were, because it's like
100%.
I can do whatever I want. Who cares?
Have you met my dad?
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, yeah.
Exactly.
My dad was like this tall, African, like well-dressed, you know, like very well-respected man, you know, and he walked around like very like three-piece suit, little cavette.
Very, very
do you know what I mean? He was very formal, and about his mannerisms, the way he talked, the way he dressed. He spoke multiple languages. As you expect, I guess, from somebody that studied in Russia as well.
Yeah.
And so he just carried himself with this swagger that I always loved it when my friends met my dad, because they never expected that from my dad. I think because he was so well spoken, right? And then like I remember the first time I met you, shook your hand and you were so tiny.
I was so tiny. I was like, oh my
God. I was so tall. And we could see his dad being like,
literally, like it was like nice to meet you.
Yeah. But no, I think like kind of to wrap this episode up, because I think that we can probably talk about this for like a long time, right? About our upbringing.
Hope not.
And like we can though, about our upbringings and how our parents shaped like us as individuals, and like and how they didn't shape
ourselves as well,
and how they didn't shape us actually. They did and they didn't in different ways, right?
Yeah 100%. Because I feel like me growing up without my parents has
shaped you
100%.
Yeah,
I feel like that's why and that's why I say like it's not even the confidence, it's more of like no matter what, I know I have myself because that's the only person I have in the end. You know, like I fully understand that, you know, to a different level. 100%. And I think that's like what it was like, because I love my mom, like I love my family now like more than ever. But I also have that sense of like, it's not that I don't need them, it's more like it wouldn't matter.
You know, because you can do it by yourself.
Yes.
You've done it by yourself.
Yeah. Like that's like kind of like that's what I got from like, I guess, not having my parents around. Yeah. When like with my brother, I feel like because he had a lot of time with my parents, I feel like it's completely different. Okay. I'm more like, bro, like get over yourself, move on. Yeah. And he's more like, oh, what do you mean? You know, like it's more like I feel like that kind of like. Yeah. And he's the youngest as well, so I guess that
he's the baby boy. He's definitely the baby boy.
Adds into the.
You know what? I think like, of course, we shape ourselves like as we go through life, but everybody in our lives like helps shape who we are 100%. As well, right? And who isn't in our life? And I think for the first time, like when my dad left, my dad has also passed away now, Allah yarhamah. But I think him leaving actually for the first time, I feel like I kind of felt like I was in it by myself, and like it was like figuring that out and like feeling like vulnerable and feeling like, you know, like you can't rely, or like, you know, just feeling like, you know, what if you mess up, like who's gonna have your back? But I do think like one thing I realized was that like my dad, you know what the crazy thing is, I feel like even when he passed away, something that made it easier to process was the fact that like actually my dad taught me everything he needed to teach me, right? And I am like exactly where I need to be because of him, right? And my mother, of course. My mother, I can't even like explain like what she's done to support me, and could never even like, you know, capture like how she's shaped me as a woman, right? But I think often like we don't give credit to our fathers, especially those that are incredibly involved and active and in your lives. But my dad massively shaped who I was, right? And like I always say, like I had two parents. I had a mum that was like a lawyer, so her thing was like, if you don't like it, change it, right? And I think that's why I became an activist. But I also had a father that was like, education is the most powerful tool you can have, right? So just continue learning for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Those are the two principles my parents taught me. And I think they have shaped who I am. Because literally, I am an activist that works in education sector. I am literally shaped by my parents. So I feel like they played a massive role in who I am and what I do. So I do think like it is a little bit about like, I guess, how I've come to being who I am now. And from like what my parents expected me to be. I think I might be far from like what they thought I was going to be, but I think I'm also like perfectly where I was supposed to be.
Yeah.
In like a beautiful way.
Yeah.
You know, in a very wholesome way.
Well, I can tell you straight, my mom doesn't like where I am right now. But I know she loves it really. I honestly believe she loves it.
Go on.
I feel like she pretends, because like, you know how parents are, they have that expectation.
She's coming for Christmas, so I can answer this, you know.
Oh, we don't have, I can tell you straight what she's going to tell you.
Your mom would be so funny on the podcast. She'd actually be so funny.
She'd be like, she's so smart. When she was little, she did. So I'm just like, Mom, just stop. I'm alive. I don't do drugs. I'm not a killer.
I'm not in prison.
I'm not in prison.
Didn't rob a bank.
Didn't get caught.
Nanny's been trying to rob a bank for a long time.
Long time, guys.
Maybe not
like,
keep that.
Long time. But you never know, you know. You never know. It could happen. You never know. So just blessings out there.
Nah, this is very true. This is very true. And I do think you are doing work that's important. And that is,
do you know what? I feel like for me, with my mother, is like the image she wants, like, it's the image of what a lot of like Angolan parents want. And the reality situation is she has a kid that is independent and just has her own mind. And I feel like she's always had a hard time with that. Because she's also independent and she also has her own mind. So I feel like...
Yeah, I get that.
I feel like that's the kind of person she kind of like wanted me to be.
Yeah.
But following what she wanted,
yeah,
what she wants from me. But at the same time, like, that's something like she always says, like, I don't care, like, what you do, as long as you have, you know, the tools to get to where you need to get.
Yeah. 100%.
And she doesn't realize the tools that I'm getting right now will get me far.
Yeah, I mean, I think she does to a certain extent. She does.
She
just wants you to get there quicker. You know, like, it's like the...
Not even quicker, like, she wants the whole illusion of, you know, a job that pays this much, you know, and it has to be in a company, you know, that has a big company, and you have to have this car, and you have to have this house, you know, like, she has this whole image. Yeah. And I'm like, first of all, why do I have to work in a company? Why do I have to go through the whole system to get to where I want to get? You know, and she doesn't realize that's not what I want. So for her, it's like, because she has her friends calling her and being like, my daughter is doing this.
Yeah.
The comparison.
Comparison is the
your cousin, your cousins are doing this. This person's daughter is doing that. So like for her, she lives her life comparing quite a lot.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like in Angola, that's what they do. People compare
all the time.
You know, so
Somalis do the same thing. I feel like everyone does it.
Yes,
everyone does it.
But I feel like the African culture, I should say, I feel like they do it a lot more.
Yeah.
Because like they want their kids
Yep.
to be better than the others.
Yeah.
You know.
Have you seen your age mates? They're doing this.
Exactly.
What are you doing with your life? What do you mean, what am I doing with my life? I'm at university. I'm working. I'm doing like, you know what I mean? Like, it's always consistently like, there's an expectation of what they think is great, and they want you to do that. Like, the reality is, I did accounting and finance, and I think we'll probably talk about this in depth. But like, I remember like my parents being like, "Why are you not working in the sector? Why are you not going down this route?" And like, there's something that like I remember having a conversation about this very early on, and being like, actually, like our parents can't imagine the pathways that we can, because it's a world that they've never lived in. And they've never been in.
Because they're living for the past. They're living for, I didn't have this, but you have this now, so why don't you get this? But the reality is like, yeah, you have this now, but we right now have something come way ahead.
Also, it's the whole thing of like the way they see success is like you do this, then you do this, then you.
Yeah,
it's
the
this
whole
is what I
system
know,
they have
right?
to follow,
But
innit?
actually, what they don't realize is like actually you could do this and go there, you could do
Yeah.
this and go there, you could
Yeah.
do this and go there. There are so many different pathways.
Yeah.
To do so many different things that they can't even comprehend or imagine. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
My parents like still this day are like, what the hell do you do again?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Am I making money? Then please let me pay the bills.
Do I not help you pay those bills?
Exactly. It's like,
Then
please.
why on earth?
If you don't
are we
understand it,
talking?
you don't understand it. It's calm. It's all right. You don't need to understand it. But
Honestly. And I feel like because my mum was like, she kind of like raised us by herself. So I feel like the pressure for her,
to succeed. Is
was a lot
mounting.
higher, you know?
Definitely.
So it was like she wanted, like, I could, like, sometimes I could feel it on the phone, like when she used to call me, like when I was younger, it was like that need was there for her, like for it to happen,
Yeah.
you know? So, yeah, that's the way my parents, well, my mum shaped me, was just to be independent and just know what I want.
And you do.
Yes, 100%.
So shout out to mum.
Because in my head, like, it's about, like,
Mumsy.
it comes from the inside and goes outwards.
Yeah.
It doesn't, but I feel like with your parents, it's like what's on the outside will put a nice picture for everyone to see, and then everyone will know this is what you have,
Okay.
even if you're suffering on the inside.
Yeah, this is true. This is very true. Oh God, that could
Yeah.
go down so many pathways. But like, I mean, I think we can wrap up and be like, because the reality is like, I mean, shout out to our parents,
100%.
our family, our friends.
It's not easy. It's not easy being a parent. Like,
Those teachers that I gave grief to. I apologize. I don't.
she really doesn't.
Really. You know, and like,
It's part
I
of
guess
life.
all of those like different pathways that you took to get to where you are, I like, gotta be proud of that and stay grateful.
Yeah.
And I look forward to like diving into
A lot more stories.
a lot more different things. Yeah. 'Cause
Us and everyone else.
I think like you just literally mentioned like mental health a second ago, like, and I think there's just so much to talk about in terms of like education, the depth of education, you know. But yeah, I mean, we're gonna be posting fortnightly.
Yeah, 100%.
We're gonna try to do fortnightly.
Yeah.
And hopefully that if that really picks up, then we'll try to do it weekly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope you enjoy the conversations and like if there's anything specific you guys wanted to talk about,
We can.
yeah, I
Let
would
us
love to have
know.
like some topics thrown at us, some things to address.
And even stories about yourself, you know, you
Scenarios.
guys growing up, because I feel like we're gonna be like answering some questions.
Yeah, definitely.
So
We could do the
gotta
whole
be
thing of like
stories.
asking for a friend, because nobody ever tells you it's their situation.
Exactly.
I'm just asking for a friend.
Yes,
Yeah.
but don't be shy to say it was you.
No, 100%.
You know, it could have been worse.
It's all about being honest, self-reflecting, learning, growing, and I hope we can do that. But I guess this is our first episode. Over
the
and out.
flop squad, and hopefully it wasn't a flop. So
The flop.
do you know what? I literally, the moment I said that, I literally had that image in my head of someone writing a comment saying this is a flop. So I see you. I know exactly who you are.
Honestly, if it's a flop, it's so on brand. It's so on brand.
I know exactly who you are. So don't bother. I'm watching you. But yeah, thank you so much for listening. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in the next episode.